Hi everyone, today we're creating an Easter or spring themed tutu with embellishments, and we're going to create this on an elastic band. The supplies we'll need are our handy scissors or rotary cutter, a straight surface to work with, your tool of choice, and your embellishments. We're also going to show you at the end a matching hat we created. Now, I've shown you on a different video how to cut tool from a bolt, but one of the things that we've run into is that when we start unrolling our tool for the length that we require, the tool is folded and it's not matching up. It's leaving anywhere from 2 to 6 inches of tool that's not matched up. So that's that excess area that you normally would cut off. But because it's so much, we're going to show you a way to save that. Now all you need to do after you've got the measurement that you want, the length of tool that you want, go ahead and fold it so it's manageable and that you can cut it easily. Now place it down on a hard surface. Use your rotary cutter if you have one, or your sharp scissors. Have something flat that you can cut against so you have a straight edge, and you're actually going to cut at the folded side, and you're just going to do one straight long cut, and that will separate those pieces of tool for you. Now you'll roll as normally, but you won't have as much excess. Now again, this is optional, but if you've got a set amount of tool you're working with, this may save you on needing to go and buy an extra bolt. And it also saves you money when you're creating multiple tutus off of the same bolt. Now this doesn't happen all the time, but it is frustrating when you lose 6 inches times the length. The key here is that you roll it with care in mind by matching the ends together as closely as possible, or you're still going to waste excess tool. So just be careful as you're rolling, because now all of this can be used. I have noticed that the lighter colors of tool seem to be softer, and I have more of a problem rolling it without it getting static, clingy, or folding up on me when it's not supposed to. So use that fabric softener solution to help you out there. Now, after you've made your roll, we're using the mint colored premium tool. You're going to make your cuts, and you'll notice here that we have no excess left. So that little ½ inch to inch that we cut when we made 2 separate pieces is all we wasted. When working with the softer tool, I find that making the pieces of tool wider, those strips wider, it allows for it to hold more body. I don't know why, I don't know the scientific reason, but this is what has occurred, especially when creating bustles and the dresses. To recap, we have cut the tool from our bolts. We found there's too much excess that would be wasted, so we've cut along the folded side all the way down. Now we've got 2 pieces instead of the 1, and we're rolling it up. We've cut it into the sizes that we want, the width that we want, because we already have our length. And you can see here that it's not stretchy, it's maintained its elasticity. We are using a ½ inch elastic band. Now we've hot glued this with the hot glue that says that it works on fabric. All you're going to do is choose the amount of tool. You want to consider how much coverage you want. You can do single layers, but you're going to need to bunch them, make your knots real tight, so that way you can get as much tool on there for the most coverage. Or you can take several pieces of tool, as we've done here, and join them together, squish it at the top where it's folded as much as you can to make it easier to work with. Bring it together evenly at the bottom if that's the look you're going for. Now lift it through the elastic or under the elastic. Bring the tails through the hole that you've created as you've widened your fingers. Now gently tug. Now you can use your dowel or a pencil to tighten it and make the knots more uniform. We're going to cover the elastic base with satin edged sheer pink ribbon, and it's 1½ inches. You can go as small as 7/8 inch. Just take a good look at your slip knots to make that decision. Now I'm going to speed through this process. We do have a video that shows this I believe more than one actually, and you can take a closer look on our harvest style tutu. But all we're doing is we're going over the elastic base and taking it under the tulle. Now I would not go past 2 tulle knots, simply because you're going to end up having a wide gap, and you don't want that for your dress because that'll mean less coverage. Now you're simply wrapping it around the waist or chest area, depending on what you're making, a tutu skirt or dress. And you'll go all the way around it, and then you can make a lovely bow. You can hot glue the end pieces together. Depending on where you want your ends to meet up will determine if you can make a bow in that area. Now, if you're going to use the excess as the ribbon to the nape of the neck, around the neck, then you want to make sure that both sides that are left are even. And you can easily readjust this by unlooping your start place and then wrapping, say you have extra left on the end, or vice versa. You will want to make sure that you leave enough room for it to stretch. You don't want to make your covering, that satin edged ribbon, real tight, because then you've taken away the elasticity. You won't be able to make it get bigger when they're trying to put it over their head or they need a bigger size. So keep note of that. Just leave enough room that it can stretch out. Most people use the satin ribbon. If this is your first time, I recommend that you go ahead and try it that way. This ribbon is a bit tricky. You can heat seal it just a bit, but you have to be really quick because it melts supremely fast, and you can catch it on fire if you hold that lighter to it too long, that fire. If you are going to use this for around the neck and you have a good amount on each side left, instead of hot gluing it, what you can do is you can tie it together. You would simply make a knot at the center spot with both pieces, so that way it doesn't unravel on you. And then you have those 2 long pieces, and then you wrap it around the neck to make a lovely bow. To cover that area, you can use an embellishment such as a flower, and that'll take care of that really quickly. If you're going to use the excess ribbon, you can also create a bow that goes on the side or the front, depending on where you want it to end up at the front of your tutu. Just remember that you want it to end in the front and not the back, unless you're looking for it to be on the back. So just to make that decision before you get started. If you don't want to do that, or you find that you haven't cut quite enough ribbon to make a bow or straps around the neck, then this is where that trusty hot glue gun comes into effect. You'll cut it so that you have just enough to hot glue both pieces on the inside. And remember just to use a little bit of glue, because you can always go back and add a bit more. But this allows you to readjust without a big mess and trouble and distorting that ribbon. Now, if you have a spot that just seems to keep gaping open and you've tried several times to fix it and you've readjusted, you can always put a dab of hot glue in between the edges of your ribbon to make sure that it doesn't leave gaps. Put a little bit of glue, and you can use the fabric fusion glue or you can use your hot glue gun. Just make sure you don't put too much, because you want it to still allow the elastic band to do what it's supposed to, and that's to stretch. But you also don't want the gaping sections. So you put that little dab of hot glue, press firmly at the edges of your pieces of ribbon, and this will take care of that for you. Now let's get started on the fun stuff. We are embellishing this mint tutu dress or skirt with some pink satin bows, and they have some leaves on them that are also made out of satin, and they're kind of minty or sage colored. Add just a touch of difference. These are less than an inch big, about 7/8 of an inch, and using a backing such as one of those felt circles that are pre-made is not going to work, because these are not as big as the felt circle. So this is a great time for you to use your scrap ribbon or felt or foam pieces. We're going to hot glue these on, and we're just going to do a sprinkling of them. We're not going to totally cover the tutu with them. This is just going to be used as an accent. Now pick out your spot. Now pick out the area that you want to place your first embellishment on. separate that tool piece or pieces, depending on how heavy your embellishment is, from the other tool. A cool way to use an alligator clip without teeth is to use that to help keep that tool away from the piece you're working on, and it doesn't leave any marks on your tutu. Pick out your spot, keeping the tool away from the rest. Put a dab of glue. Remember, you can always add more. Press it onto the tool that you're working with. Press firmly. Now use your fingers. While you're pressing firmly, push the tool against your embellishment. That way you know that the glue is saturating through both the tool and the embellishment. Hold it for a moment if you don't have a backing on it, or flip it over and move on to the next piece. Remember, you can do a quick check at the end by shaking your tool, making sure that all your embellishments are secure on there. And if you need to add any more glue, you can do that then at the end. One more time, pick your tool spot that you want the embellishment on. Use that alligator clip or just move your tool aside. Put a dab of glue on your embellishment. Press firmly. Now again, push the tool and the embellishment together, pressing firmly, making sure it saturates throughout. Flip it over and move on to your next piece. And that's all you have to do to add a little something extra to your tutu creation. I've had a few requests as to where to get certain supplies. Now these were ordered from the manufacturer, but Paper Mart has a huge variety of tulle, ribbon, and embellishments and flower arranging things and so much more. Hair Hardware has quite a bit of items, and I believe they're both on YouTube. I would just do a search online, and once you start purchasing these embellishments, you'll decide what works best for you and what's within your budget. Paper Mart, again, does not have a lot of coupons out there. Actually, I've never seen one, but they are competitive. They do have high quality standards, and they ship promptly. Other sources, especially if you are going to get into this full time, you might check out some of those overseas manufacturers out there like Alibaba if you're buying in huge bulk, or AliExpress. Just remember, if you're buying from those type places, you're looking at wait time for it to arrive if you're just going to take the regular standard post that they offer. But that is an option, especially if you know something's going to happen in a year, like a wedding. You can order a huge amount of product at a very reasonable rate. But be sure to check your local country or state first, because you can find some good deals that are available, and they've already done all the legwork for you. BB Crafts offers a discount for wholesalers and retailers both. Fuzzyfabric.com, they do the same thing, and their prices are about the same as well. Ribbon Retreat, Spool of Ribbon, you can look those names up. They sometimes run sales. I know that some of them offer monthly coupon codes if you are a subscriber, and they don't fill up your email with a whole bunch of newsletters. But I do believe it's once a month they send you something, and it's like anywhere from 7% to 50% off. So that might be something if you do a lot of DIY. At the end of the video, we have several photos for you to take a look at. We actually created a hat to match this using the same embellishments and some ribbon that was mint, and it just really sets the whole thing off as a complete outfit, and it's going to be a great Easter or springtime tutu. All of our information is at the end. We thank you so much for watching and supporting our channel. channel, please subscribe. You can find all of our links on our YouTube homepage and Google Plus page. We also include our links at the end of each video. Thank you so much for viewing. You're the best. And remember, whatever you create is going to be fantastic because you took the time to create it.